For more than 50 years, Dale Evans stood in the spotlight as America's symbol of grace, faith, and quiet strength. She smiled beside the nation's most beloved cowboy, sang songs that promised hope, and spoke gently about belief in a world that preferred noise over truth. To the public, she seemed unbreakable, calm, protected, almost untouched by pain. But behind the smiles and studio lights, Dale Evans carried wounds that never healed. She didn't rage the way Hollywood expected. She didn't shout or expose secrets. She endured. And endurance, stretched across decades, becomes a silent burden that slowly breaks the heart. Near the end of her life, that silence finally cracked. And the first name she could no longer keep buried was the one no one wanted to hear: Roy Rogers, the man America adored, the man children trusted without question, the man who shared her home. Of all the men who hurt her, he was the one who left the deepest scar, because loving him cost her more than anyone ever knew. To millions of Americans, Roy Rogers was kindness on horseback, gentle, disciplined, morally perfect. But inside the walls of their home, Dale lived with a different reality. Roy believed in order above all else. His word carried final authority. Decisions about parenting, faith, and daily life were not discussions, they were commands. Dale later admitted that many times she felt like a visitor in her own family, carefully choosing silence to protect the image that made them famous. One moment never left her. During a disagreement over how one of their adopted children should be punished, Roy shut her down immediately, firmly and in front of the children. There was no argument, no compromise. Dale went quiet, not because she agreed, but because she understood the cost of speaking. Years later, she finally said what she had held inside for decades. Roy was gentle to the world. At home, gentleness did not always rule. The resentment wasn't born from cruelty. It came from emotional distance, from being expected to endure unbearable grief after the deaths of their daughters Robin and Debbie without asking for vulnerability in return. Roy responded to pain by tightening control. Dale needed connection. They never met in the middle. She never left him. She never criticized him publicly while he lived. By the time Roy Rogers passed away in 1998, it was too late for confrontation, too late for repair. The second man wounded her not at home, but in public. John Wayne, the biggest name in Hollywood, the loudest voice in every room. John Wayne loved dominance. He filled spaces with laughter, crude jokes, and a confidence that demanded attention. Dale Evans entered those same rooms quietly, without performance, without trying to compete. To Wayne, that restraint was irritating. He preferred environments where he ruled completely. At a studio gathering in the late 1940s, surrounded by executives, producers, and stars, Dale declined a drink and stepped away from a conversation that had turned vulgar. Wayne noticed. He raised his glass and spoke loudly enough for the entire room to hear. "God doesn't make movies, men do." The room erupted in laughter. Dale didn't smile. She stood still for a moment, picked up her purse, and walked out. That exit said more than any argument ever could. Wayne hadn't joked. He had humiliated her publicly, mocking the faith that defined her life. Later, Dale explained the wound simply. She didn't mind disagreement. She minded being turned into a spectacle. Wayne never apologized. He didn't believe he needed to. After that night, Dale avoided him entirely. She declined joint appearances and refused invitations where he would be present. Her reasoning was quiet but firm. She would not share space with men who mocked what kept people standing. The third man hurt her without words, jokes, or confrontation: Clark Gable, a Hollywood icon protected by reputation and silence. From the beginning, Dale sensed the imbalance.
Gable never greeted her, never acknowledged her presence unless a camera demanded it. During rehearsals, he leaned toward directors, repositioning himself so Dale was pushed toward the edge of the frame. Crew members noticed. No one intervened. Gable's habits were understood. If a scene didn't elevate him, it changed. That was the message. Later, Dale learned this behavior was common. Gable's reputation protected him. Women adapted. Careers survived by remaining silent. Years later, she summarized the resentment in one sentence. "He didn't insult me. He made me irrelevant." That realization haunted her. Hollywood didn't always silence women with cruelty. Sometimes it erased them with indifference. The fourth man heard her with smiles and closed doors. Gene Autry, a rival who never attacked openly. As Dale's popularity rose alongside Roy, Autry didn't see a fellow performer, he saw a threat. Instead of confrontation, he chose subtle control. Scripts slowed, invitations disappeared, radio appearances were quietly rescheduled. Behind studio doors, Autry leaned on producers and nudged network executives, arranging schedules so Roy and Dale's show faced stronger competition. The goal was simple: limit her visibility, control her rise. Dale never confronted him. Instead, she adjusted. She declined joint appearances and learned a painful lesson. Open enemies didn't frighten her. Quiet ones did. The fifth man hurt her in the most unexpected way: Bob Hope, the man America trusted to make everything lighter. During a televised appearance, Hope joked about the holy cowgirl, implying that Dale's faith was manufactured, a studio creation, rather than something real. The audience laughed. Dale didn't. She sat still, hands folded, eyes downcast. Later, someone suggested Hope meant no harm. Dale disagreed. He repeated the joke later, sharper and longer. That repetition told her everything. It wasn't accidental, it was profitable. For Dale Evans, faith was not image management. It carried her through the deaths of her children, through loneliness, through grief that never fully lifted. Hearing it turned into comedy felt like watching her survival stripped of meaning. She didn't confront him. She didn't demand an apology. She simply disappeared from spaces where he was present. She said it plainly. She didn't laugh at people's lifelines. Bob Hope never apologized. He never acknowledged the damage. Dale Evans never forgot. She didn't rage. She endured. But endurance leaves scars that time cannot erase. Share your thoughts and join the conversation. Thanks for watching.